What up, kid?
Yeah, buddy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, bud. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I have you on my monitors, not on my headphones, but I
Okay.
think this will be all right.
Yeah, totally. Oh,
Does the mic?
check us out.
Hey, look at us. We're
Stream boys.
yeah, stream boys. Living the stream.
Living the stream, man. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah. How you doing?
Good, man. Just playing bass.
Oh yeah, let me hear some.
You want to hear what I've been cooking up?
Let's hear what you're cooking up there, kid.
It's raw. It's raw.
Shit, man. I'm all about the oysters.
All right.
That's where you find the pearls.
My man. All right. I'll show you what I've been cooking up.
I see it.
So, this I dubbed this the Blood Moon bass. Shout out MBJ Guitars, my man Joe Cruz.
Shout out.
So, I was working on a little bit of Beethoven Moonlight Sonata. So
It's pronounced Beethoven, but continue.
It's Beethoven?
Beethoven. Beef?
Oh, Beethoven.
Yeah, how it's written.
Beef oven.
Beef oven, yeah. I was actually hearing, I think it was a podcast about, it was Radiolab, talking about Beethoven symphonies sped up and slowed down. He got a metronome in 1816, 1817 by Mazel Metronome, or whatever the fuck his name is.
Really?
And it was after he'd written all 8 of his symphonies, or 8 of his 9, rather. And he already deaf, so his marking seemed way too fast. But the moral of the story is he's just a badass, and it's like, fuck y'all, play it fast.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
that's I would love to see that metronome, like see a metronome from that time period.
Because people thought it was broken, so they found it, and it turns out it's right. He's just a fucking boss.
He's just ahead of it. I had like an old school metronome for a while. It was like the old, like, it was really cool, but I think I still have it somewhere in a box. All right, shout out Beethoven. So this is I'm calling this the Blood Moon Sonata.
All right.
So it's the Moonlight Sonata, but it's more based on the Marcus Miller version of it. So It's a little bit raw. I'm going to try a loop here. We'll see what happens.
All right.
All right. Let's get it cooking. How's that Lev?
Sound good? Sounds pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Get my loop popping.
Hey, there it is.
Little 6/8 loop.
Not bad at all.
Just envision, like a swaggy 6/8 hi-hat. All right, let's see if I looped it right. Something like that.
Right. I like it.
You dig it?
Yeah, I'm feeling it. I like that 6/8 feel, man. I'm trying to. It's the one problem working with Ableton. I haven't quite tackled into how to create the off time feels as much. So
I'm always curious about that. 'Cause my music production is super limited. Like just producing like in odd times. I mean, I guess you just set the parameter. If you were going to do something like 7/4, you just set it to like 7 clicks a bar or whatever.
yeah, well, with Ableton, you can set in the session view. That's kind of where you have like the general boxes that you've seen. That's in my experience, I've used that in 4/4. I'm sure someone who's done it more knows how to do it differently. But when you switch to the arrangement view and you're just like putting out each of your chunks, you can adjust it at will and change like the measures. I haven't really played around with it, but I'm sure there's a very simple way to do it that I just haven't worked with. But you know, there's a reason 4/4 works so well, and so many people use it because it works.
Right. And probably not too many electronic producers producing in 6/8. Shout out Supercilious. I know my boy Supercilious is.
Oh, yeah. Supercilious is sick, man.
He's a lot of odd time shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've always been curious. I'm trying to up the game though a little bit with the production. You know, hey, I mean we're podcast boys now. I'm rocking. I mean you've been on the tip, but I'm new to the microphone interface world. So
yeah, you definitely have a better microphone than me. Mine's just like a shitty one that I got for basically just capturing. I think it's mostly for talkback for me and Owen for Schwa.
I was gonna say that's what you use with Schwa, right? That's your setup.
Yeah, yeah, and I've messed around with. Probably not gonna be able to hear it. Yeah, because my thing's back there. But I did a bunch of effects with the mic too to like delay and weird shit. Owen messes around with that stuff.
I saw when you guys did the 420 stream, you were getting some echo and. With the Afro Man joint you guys did, there was definitely you need that 420 slapback echo.
Yeah, hell yeah, man! It was a fun time. We threw a theremin in there too. So we had a lot of plans for this April, and we shifted them into a different direction. But we had like a electronic drum kit. We were gonna try to match up to different random like Uma Guma, Pink Floyd.
Oh yeah, crazy album.
Several species stuff, but just like live and dancey.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, shit like that. I don't know.
But, I mean, you guys can get pretty creative in your respective studios, right? I mean, was he, like, is he manipulating sounds and stuff when you're doing that? Like, when you guys did that other stream set? Are you doing it simultaneously, or is it just kind of you running it, or what?
No, we, for that stream specifically, we were trying to figure out how to do it. We haven't figured out yet how to do it live together.
Yeah.
So we created essentially a backing track that we worked on and sent back and forth to each other. And I would be like, hey, I need some Moog over this part, or not Moog, I'm sorry, theremin over this part, and he would just like throw some shit in there, and then I would take the sound and I'd jump it up, I'd transpose it, flip it around, reverse it, and like do all sorts of shit. And
flip it and reverse it.
Yeah, put that thing down. We flipped it and reversed it.
Right.
Speaking of, I am not, for some reason, it's not switching our videos when we talk, so I'm doing it manually. You want to just record on your computer so we have
Sure. Mine is switching.
I don't know why mine's not. Mine.
I have to, again, it's doing the permission from the host. Let me know if you...
Let's see, there's a fuck off button and a allow record button. Cool, I'll go with the second one.
Do I hold it? Is that... Okay, now I'm recording.
Yeah, I don't know why mine's not switching. Unpin. Okay.
1 2 1 2. I'm Yellow Box Boy now.
All right, I am just boy.
You're just boy?
Boy.
Is there any yellow box?
No, there's not. Usually there is, and I don't understand why that's not happening.
Interesting. I should have just started recording from the beginning, but what can we do? This was also our level check, but now it just feels like we're in the podcast.
Yeah, well, for all those just tuning in, everyone, Luke just played the greatest bass solo I've ever heard in my living life.
I've been years in the making, slaving on this Beethoven piece.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's seen Dennis the Menace, the live action movie where that's the 100-year flower and it finally blooms.
Wow.
Ruins it, and poor Mr. Fuckface the neighbor misses the whole thing.
That's a reference right there, my man.
Yeah, shout out to Dennis. Guy's a real menace from what I hear.
I mean, truly.
So yeah, it's not, as long as it's recording in yours, that's good.
Yeah, we should be cool.
Yeah, I've been kind of
on
just the double do's, and we can maybe patch them together somehow.
And it might work. I've been, I've in the process of moving all my lessons over to Zoom. Which is so much better than Skype anyway.
Yeah, my bass teacher that I started with 16 years ago is still using Skype. And,
is that what you guys have been doing?
Yeah, he's trying to switch to or he was doing FaceTime for a bit, but I don't know. There's a new Google Meet thing that I don't know.
Google Meets, I've done lessons, or not lessons, like meetings and stuff on Google Meet, and It works fine with the interface with a bass level and a mic. The main thing with Skype is that it's fine for audio and your mic will work with an interface, but you can't do two inputs, I guess, with Skype. That was the main issue.
Huh.
Or I just couldn't figure it out. I was doing it with my buddy Jules, Mad Midi, shout out, who is the stream doctor, we are calling him now.
All right, the stream doctor.
Anybody all of your streaming needs. He's got a pretty wild setup going. He's going to stream tonight in the Busking Down the House page at 9:30. I'm going to check that out.
Cool. What does he do?
So Mad Midi is this wild AV project that he runs where he's playing drums. I'll do a worse job explaining this than he would, but he's basically triggering audio and visual samples in real time using a drum kit.
Okay.
So he has like multiple screens going on. The set is wild. I definitely encourage anybody to check it out. If you just Facebook search Mad Midi, you'll find his page. Jules Jensen is his name. So he'll do clips of like Star Wars movies, but it's a green screen. So he's playing in front of it, and he'll be playing a groove, and different samples, different parts of his kit are like triggering different samples. So different like lightsaber sounds, audio dialogue.
That's so dope. And it links up the lightsaber sound with the same visual cue.
Yes, exactly.
Fucking dope.
It's wild.
So he's playing regular drums or songs and then adding in these, or it's just all effects?
It's just there's real drum sounds. Oh yeah,
cool.
yeah. He has all these synthesizers and like Moogs and different pedals. He's doing it with his bassist Brian Ross tonight. Yeah, it's really cool, man. And me and him actually have a project that we got cooking up that's in the works, very early, just more brainstorming phases, but kind of dealing with like movies and cinematic scores and bringing this audio visual element to it. So yeah, it's been fun learning a bit more about it.
Have you done any obviously probably not done any movies or anything, but have you thought about doing scores for a small short film that someone made?
I would.
Or things like
that? It's a goal. It's a dream of mine, man.
Yeah.
The closest we've done is I went to Long Island University for a couple years and was living with a lot of film majors, and a lot of which have gone on to have really successful film careers. Alex Megaro, Paul Taylor, Chris Godburn, Chris Bell. They've all gone on to like win awards at independent festivals and things like that.
Nice.
And they were just really talented and smart anyway when I lived with them, so it wasn't that surprising. We had a fake paranormal investigations YouTube series we did called The Paranormals.
Nice.
Yeah, it was terrible, but it was awesome.
That's what I like to hear. Is it? Can we find it online?
It's not, because Chris Bell took it off YouTube, man. And despite all of us like begging him to leave it there, I think now that he's a serious filmmaker, he doesn't want us with that bullshit on there.
You gotta just like find a clip of him doing something and like put him in and just make the worst movie ever. Be like, this is the alternative. So
I know.
Or put
right. It's like serious independent like silent films or like this ridiculous fake paranormal investigation thing. Yeah, but so my buddy Alex Megaro did a film called Spooky Cabin, and he asked Le Special to do the music for it. And so we recorded a track called Spooky Cabin, and it was like this fast-paced kind of like 60s Batman inspired thing. It was like this like
oh hell yeah,
like this,
I'm all about that shit.
Yeah, it's like Danny Elfman surf punk. It was really fun. And then we played it, I like live sets for a while, but this was back in like 2008, 2007. So we haven't played it in a while. So I don't like have like any film scoring software or anything. I studied it a bit at Berkeley, but I would love to just have the opportunity for Le Special to do it solo, do work in any film score capacity. It's like I don't have orchestration abilities, but honestly, man, I've listened to like multiple podcasts with Danny Elfman. I actually just listened to a recent one that's awesome. I'd recommend to you and to anybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna write that down. I actually had a series of questions, and one of them is, what podcasts have you been checking out?
Oh, great. Well, I'm about to give you two.
Segue. All right.
Yes, beautiful pivot. So one of my favorite podcasts, and this is Jules also put me onto this one, is called The Soundtrack Show. Just The Soundtrack Show. If you go to like a podcast app, you can find it, iTunes, anything like that. He's also on Instagram and stuff. And it's this guy, David W. Collins, and he works in a lot of Star Wars audio stuff, like doing sound effects for Star Wars video games and things like that. So he's a big Star Wars guy, and it's just really well done podcast where you can be a musician and get something out of it, but you don't have to have any musical knowledge, and it's still really interesting. And so I love that podcast. And then I've been checking out this new podcast, or I'm not sure if it's new, but it's new for me. It's called The Score.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is I've only checked out a few episodes, but it's great. And that's where I listened to their season 3 premiere was an interview with Danny Elfman, which was awesome. So the Soundtrack Show has a really good podcast on Danny Elfman, and now this one is just like a hour and a half, 2 hour interview with Danny Elfman. And
That's awesome.
this dude's life is wild. Like, I mean, you could tell, like, by listening to this guy's music, like,
Yep.
this guy's got, there's something to it. There's got to be some crazy history there. I won't, like, spoil it or get too deep into it, but basically, man, like, he was in a punk rock band in high school. He's from, like, LA, I think. And he's like, I left high school and bought a violin and traveled to West Africa and then traveled across the continent with my violin collecting drums. And he's got this hilarious voice. When you hear him talk, you think you're just hearing Jack Skellington from Nightmare Before Christmas, because he did all the voicing for that and all the singing for that. So he's like,
oh really? I didn't know that.
He did the singing. There was a different voice actor, but yeah.
Huh.
And Nightmare Before Christmas he cites as like one of his favorites because it was just him and Tim Burton, and there was no studio pressure. But yeah, he's like, so I was just traveling across Africa, which took much longer than I thought. And then I moved to France and joined the circus with my brother. Like,
Of course he did.
Crazy. And
Elfman.
he's Elfman. And so they had this circus troupe that they brought back to America called the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo. And that turned into Oingo Boingo, which was like his 80s band, which I've also now been diving into. Wild catalog. And basically, Tim Burton called him up and was like, "I want you to score a movie. I'm doing a movie for the first time. It's Pee-wee's Big Adventure." And so Danny figured it was for his band, Oingo Boingo, to do a score. And he's like, "No, I want you to do a score." And so he put a demo tape together, and that was like his first foray into scoring. And he just
that movie was his first one.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good start.
Yeah,
Phenomenal movie.
Breakfast Machine. Clown Dream, and that's the intro music for Primus. Is they play those two songs and from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and it's wild. I didn't know that either. It's it was Danny Elfman's first one, and then there was
Primus. Claypool does the. Was it all Primus or just Claypool doing South Park intro?
It's Primus. Yeah, it's Primus for the original one, like the slowed down, like boom boom down to South Park. Like the kind of like that's Primus. And that's a very like Larry Lalonde guitar part. But now the newer intro is Whamola, which is also a Les Claypool song. Yeah, yeah, it's Whamola. I remember the first time I ever heard that, I was in college at LIU, and it was when they switched theme songs. And I'm like watching it, of course, like in like a dorm, like a bunch of people all hanging out, like college stuff, bongs and like Bud Lights, and it starts, and I'm like, holy fuck, Whamola! Everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, this is Whamola.
And
that didn't get me any cool points.
That's when you became the coolest kid in your entire dorm.
They're like, all right, who invited this guy? Yeah. But yeah, so that was a podcast I've been digging into. But yeah, I'm curious what you've been peeping in the podcast world lately.
I need to get more into the musical side of things. I'm trying to open that avenue more. It was so easy for me to be like, oh well, I play music a lot, so I want to learn more about quantum mechanics and listen to NPR and shit, which now is just not even worth listening to.
What, NPR?
Yeah, the news is just.
Because it's yeah.
It's just new. Nothing's new about it.
Here's the thing: we still don't know.
Yeah.
You can't listen. I stopped watching all. I used to be a big Sports Center junkie and just kind of have it on in the background if I'm cooking. Or I can't watch ESPN anymore.
Well, now they can put out maybe one episode a month and get caught up because nothing's happening.
But they're still doing it every day.
It's just cornhole. That's the only thing that's happening right now.
Have you watched any of this cornhole?
I love it. I was at we went to a bar to get some food. I think right before, like the night before I left for our long tour. Yeah. We're in there, and I just turned to the TV, and it's just cornhole, and I just transfixed. It's like, yeah, I know, I'm not gonna see it for 6 weeks, but like, have you seen this? This is killing right now.
This is
and I'm trying to not look too much at it. Although now I've been really into chess. My friend PK, shout out PK from Florida.
We were talking a bit about it.
Yeah, he yeah, that's right. We're talking with John. He sent me that app, and I've just been like watching people play chess, and it's awful. It's not good.
Is it making you like a better chess player?
A worse person for sure. I mean, it's fun to watch and it's fun to play, but like, Cece literally told me today, is like, you got to get off the sauce, man. Like, you're getting way too deep in the chest right now.
Really? You're going down the chess rabbit hole.
Yeah, and I said, "King me, bitch." No, I didn't. I didn't say that. Never happened.
I did not say that. Could not say that.
I did not say that. But well, the podcast I was listening to yesterday when I was thinking about bringing this up today was it's called The Portal with Eric Weinstein.
The Portal.
The Portal. Yeah, he's a
jot this shit down.
Yeah, he used to be a mathematician and like into like sort of into physics a little bit, which is like right up my alley. He's a frequent guest on Joe Rogan.
Okay.
Which I have to mention something I heard about him recently.
The Spotify signing?
Yeah, dude. What's up with that? He just kind of casually dropped it. I never listened to the ads, and I was putting it on the other day.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so we're going to Spotify. I'm like, shit.
I mean, cool with me. It's the #1 streaming app in the world, and it's my go-to for listening to music these days. So
it works out, and he'll probably be able to like say more shit and like play music on it and not get pulled from YouTube like he has been.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he's often just like, we can't play that because they'll get their episodes sometimes pulled off YouTube if they play a song they're not supposed to use or show a video they're not supposed to show. So I don't know.
That's so whack, man. When we were talking last night about, like going live at some point, which we'll probably do a podcast that's like a live stream and get some comments. We did it with Dead Last Podcast right when quarantine started. It wasn't even really so much of a recording of an episode. We just did kind of like a live hang with followers of the page and stuff. And we were just talking about like Contagion and virus movies and stuff. And we were talking about the remake of Dawn of the Dead, and we played a clip of it, and we played like too much of it. Like it was we played like 10 minutes of Dawn of the Dead.
It's
a really good remake. Ving Rhames, it really is. And and it got pulled off Facebook and deleted.
While you were doing it, or right after you finished?
While we were doing it.
Jesus.
Yeah, we stopped playing the clip and we were talking about it, and then it was like, yeah, no, this isn't recording anymore, and it deleted it, and it wasn't saved or anything like that. So
bummer, dude.
Wild.
I wonder if you could get away with it on Twitch. We should look into that too.
Yeah, it's a good point.
That's what we did for our 420 stream. That was on Twitch, and then we just kind of rebroadcast it on Facebook.
Right.
But
Twitch is dope. Twitch is dope.
Yeah, I did this thing with this guy called the Etc. Kid. He'd hit Jeremy up to work with him when we went out to San Francisco. And Jeremy was like, had other stuff going on. I had to see family or something. So I got to go on it. And he basically has his own little like looping setup. And he does it all through Twitch. And that's like his job. He brings guests in. He, compensates them a little bit for their time. Yeah. And they just kind of jam together. And he had more of a, it had the like Mark Rebele style where it's like approachable and fun. Yeah. It was a little less like exactly like groovy, but the reason that he did that is he crowdsourced the keys and like the which instruments he's going to use. So he's like, all right, vote on which key you want us to start in and like what instrument I'm using for it, and he put it all together. So it was very interactive and like kind of let the fans and people watching be part of the experience, which I thought was a really cool approach and idea. That's gave me some ideas of my own.
And isn't he doing like a virtual streaming tour now as well?
Rebele?
Yeah.
He was doing a drive-in tour, I think.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, he was like the first one that kind of announced that drive-in tour.
It's genius. I invite anyone listening, all three of you, to take this idea. Those balls that you can like go on the water in, or like like the bubble balls.
Bubble Boy.
Like I think it was $138 for one of those. You get 50 to 100 of them. Put it in a venue that usually takes 200, 300 people, and just let people run around. You're safe.
That's such a Pigeons vibe too. Yeah, I mean, you guys have to be the first band to do that.
I'm saying it's just calling out to happen. Like you have a way to. I've thought of the design way too much, where there's two balls inside of each other, and the middle one doesn't move, and you have like a bag up top, like a wine bag. You fill it with beer, you fill it with liquor.
Oh yeah.
And it's always up top, no matter which way you're going.
Wow.
And, like roll up to the bar and like set onto this thing, and it just.
They pour the little filter in the top of the bubble.
The future is now, man. I'm telling you.
Damn. That's what I'm talking about.
People are going to start working from home, and we're going to be going to shows and bubbles, and I just think it's gonna bring us closer together. With the separation obviously there too.
I dig it, man. I think Bubble Boy, the movie, has a lot to teach us as a society right now.
I think that's we have to just dig deep these days. You're excused.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So we obviously it's just two of us today, and we wanted to do a podcast that was just the two of us. We wanted to get, in a sense, back to basics. Let's be real.
That we are real. We're real people. We both exist. Yeah.
Yeah. But we have some cool guests in the works, and so we're gonna keep doing that. But
Yeah, I like the idea of kind of checking in every 5 or 10 episodes and just kind of
yeah,
doing our little comedy base bang here thing.
comedy bass bang.
Yeah. And yeah, just kind of keeping the vibe going and figuring out how we interact and then how we're gonna interact with new people as well. I've been really enjoying
Yeah.
the nature of each podcast kind of takes on whoever we are talking to, and that's
Yeah.
sort of the idea. It's a very bass player thing. Like they're not setting the tone, but they're kind of laying the foundation.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, and with Tucker with the hats and Brownie, Phrygian all day.
Phrygian door, Trey Minor.
Dude, it's good stuff. And then Ferrara, it was obviously awesome too. And I'm excited to see how that continues with our upcoming guests and getting to know them better too. I really feel like we've talked about this. I think after a couple times, I feel like we're going to connect more with bassists and just like be able to see someone out and be like, oh hey, what's up, and just be more like a friend. I really, going back to Joe Rogan, I really look up to and admire the way that he's brought the comedy scene together, and like they're all kind of friends. And even though they're coming on his podcast, I feel like they now are more connected. I mean, obviously the Comedy Store helps a lot with that. Reminds me of the 8x10 in Baltimore. If anyone gets a chance, there's a petition going around to write your congressman or something about saving our stages or something like that.
Yeah,
I've
seen that.
Venues that are just not going to be doing all right. Like we can do stuff like this, we can do streams and stuff, but venues are kind of just still paying rent. And
oh man, it's such independent music venues. You just, man, no matter what level musician you're at, we owe so much to the independent venues. 8x10 was our break into Baltimore.
Yeah.
I remember just driving down. We'd have it'd be a one-off every time. We'd be driving down.
Yep.
I'd get up at 6 a.m. in Boston, drive to New York, meet with the guys. Rush hour, be 2 hours late for 8x10 sound check.
Yep.
Abigail super pissed at us, and then she'd get over it.
Generally, when you were 2 hours late for a sound check, it's like being an hour early. So at that area. So
I'm exaggerating. 2 hours late is not bad. We were like 4 hours late sometimes.
Yeah. 2 hours East Coast time.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it's how's the 8x10 doing? Is any word on the street?
To them. Schwa was discussing doing a stream there at some point.
Yeah, I remember saying that.
We're still going to try to do that.
Good.
But I don't know. I haven't talked to Abigail. I should reach out to her. It really has. I mean, that's how we got our start with the residencies, and this was going to be Schwa's first one in April.
Right.
And that kind of fell through, and we'll see how things go as they go forward. But I kind of just hope that people stick around long enough, and I have a feeling that more people are going to realize how awesome it is to go out after all this, and there's going to be a sort of renaissance and resurgence. I think someone was saying that the actual renaissance happened after the
plague.
After that last iteration. So
yeah, no, it's a great point, and I think that sometimes like with anything in life, you need to have a break from it or remove yourself from it to gain a fresh perspective. Who's this we have here?
It's the Catastrophic.
Oh, that's the Catastrophic.
Yes, Astro.
And I think one of the best things that could come out of this is just like a rejuvenated sense of appreciation for independent music, for all the people, and everyone's guilty of it, and I'm guilty of it, I'm paying $10 to go and just hit up the band and get on the guest list. It's like, how many people now would have an issue with paying $10 to go and see a bunch of their friends and see a band play?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I made a point to when I could start like actively affording it, which it's also funny. It's like, hey, could I get on the guest list? And then you see him at the show just like spending $80 on liquor. It's like, well, spend a little less, and and I'm sure guilty of that too. But I remember when I first was able to start having the means, it's like I'm gonna pay for it every time, and it's still easier to be like, I don't know if I really want to go to that show. But I remember even as far back as college, Jeremy'd be the one like getting everyone out, like, we got to go to the show. It's gonna be a great show. And all the way through after, it's like this random show I've never heard of, this band that's like gonna be huge. I remember the first time we saw the Heavy Pets.
Yeah.
We just like randomly went to Jam and Java in Virginia, and it was a mind-blowing show, just completely. And it's one of those things, if you don't go, you're just like, okay, whatever, I didn't miss anything, I'm watching TV. And you go to the show, a different one, you're like,
fucking, I'm so glad I didn't miss this. So. It's the easy decision is to sit at home, man. I think that, I hope that after all this, that's it. The hard decision is going to be sitting home, and it's going to be like, man, I'm missing out on life if I don't go out. That's something I think all of you guys, though, in Pigeons, like, you guys are very adamant about going and like checking out your peers and supporting, and I remember like at Bonnaroo, we played when you guys played Bonnaroo in the tent like 2 summers ago, and we were playing like the Wormtown stage out in the campground.
Yep.
And like late night, like it kept getting pushed back. The sound guy would like lock himself in a trailer. It was like a nightmare scenario, like hot as hell. I remember like I was out hanging out at Space Jesus' set and just like waiting on the text. Or like sound guy's still locked in the trailer. Like, all right. And we ended up playing at like 4 a.m. or something. But Jeremy was out there just like hanging out in the back, just like on his own, chilling with a beer. And I was like, "You came out, you've been here like it's like sunrise." He's like, "Yeah, man, I wasn't gonna miss it." I'm like, "Damn, there wasn't even a time." And I know you have cooler places. You could be hanging out in the fucking Wormtown stage out here. Like,
I don't know. Now when you guys are on, you guys were holding it down.
yeah.
I remember. I think I played a short set on that stage.
Oh yeah.
With the schwa thing.
Right.
Just with me and a little bit of piano, and that's when I had my older computer. And it literally was so hot, the computer just stopped working.
Yeah.
So like I couldn't like it was like I was playing, it was just
yeah.
I just like, oh, okay, that's thanks. That was
yeah, that's Tennessee. And then I remember even like what was it, Adirondack Fest like 2 summers ago when the Special and Pigeons played, and we were hanging out afterwards.
Y'all ripped that set.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah,
was
we were
fun.
setting up over there and sound checking.
Yeah, we were ping ponging.
Fuck
Yeah.
Fuck me. Gotta play now. Shit.
Yeah, I remember talking
so
about
monstrous, and I was just like, fuck this.
It was great. It was a great 1-2 punch. Yeah. And then I remember hanging with you afterwards, and this was right. You guys had brought Goose on for a bunch of shows, and you're like, we got to go and catch Goose. Like they're playing the late night Neptunes or whatever. And you're like, we got to do it. We got to go. Like we were all just hanging out and chilling, having a drink.
I was like, let's go right now.
And you were like, we have to go. And we were like, all right, let's go. We made the trek over. I think we got a little bit of it. We were getting distracted along the way.
I think we caught about 5 minutes at the very end. Pretty sure.
Yeah. Yeah. But hey, it's the thought that counts. So we made it over there.
Yeah. That's when I met your brother.
Yeah, right. We started getting deep on quantum physics, and that was probably when started to have the conversations about the podcast, laid the foundation there.
Yeah, so that back to podcasts. That the one I was listening to, he talks a lot about quantum mechanics. And at the beginning of the more recent one I'm listening to, he has this really good. He does like a what do you call it? Like an audio essay on something, and it was like 10 or 15 minutes of him talking about like bringing in quantum mechanics and superposition, and how the reason that the uncertainty principle is even like in effect, which I'm just kind of glossing over a lot of things, is because quantum mechanics is able to answer questions that it shouldn't really be answering. Like classical physics can't even touch these. And the reason that there's like, oh, it's this woo-woo like probabilistic stuff, he's like, well, it's actually because it's answering the wrong questions. Like it's able to try to do it. And then he pivoted perfectly into saying, you know, our current political discourse is the same way, where you think it's these two different, you know, completely different approaches, like pro-choice or pro-life. It's like, well, everyone agrees that before fertilization there's no life, and after birth it is a life. And why are we just making this? It can either be the coin is either heads up or heads or tails up. You know, there's only this or that, and everyone just
black and white.
And everyone kind of buys into that, and it's just the problem isn't one person's right, one person's wrong. The problem is that everyone in the middle is just like, yeah, I guess, you know, one of them are right. It's
right.
It's not that either one is right. Is that people think that one of them is right.
Right. I mean, that's politics down to it. It's like the worst part about it. If you're not with, I know we don't got to get on that shit, but like it's just that even just I hate with everything that's going on with quarantine and the pandemic, how it's being politicized, and it's like it's not politics, it's science. Like everyone's just trying to navigate science.
Well, science is politicized.
Yeah.
Strangely, it's this whole. It really is like the snake eating the tail kind of thing. It's like, here's how we're going to be right, and then you just make it so that everyone is even wronger in that regard too.
Can I ask you a question about physics?
Yes, you can.
And I get that this is a question that could either be literally impossible to answer or
let's get
just
physical.
Let's get physical with this. Okay, well, I guess just basically what if you had to just explain what the basic difference is between quantum physics and how did you describe before? Just like classical physics.
Well, classical physics is when I think classical physics, and breaking news, I'm not a physicist, not a mathematician.
He is, guys. He is. Don't even let him fool you.
I didn't finish school because I wanted to pursue this band thing and see how it worked out. And I knew if I did and had another opportunity, I might not put myself into it because that's not the person I am. the other three members of my band are responsible human beings, and they finished school and still were able to pursue their dream and make it happen. So that's just the way I work. But I do plan on eventually going back for math and physics and figuring some stuff out, whether or not it's sort of on my own and auditing classes or taking like an actual course. So
Yeah.
I will know more about it. But the classical Newtonian physics, which
Newtonian.
Einstein updated, that's just like the ball, a cannon shoots it up and it falls down. And
Like gravity, just simple laws of basic
exactly,
gravity.
the laws of motion and all that nonsense.
Yeah.
And that works in every realm that we would ever pretty much experience until we started getting into speeds that are approaching space travel, and like satellite movement, and then looking at stars and how they interact in the sky. That's where Einstein's general relativity comes into play. He came up with two forms of relativity, which can be delved into a lot further. But the basic idea is that Newton was correct for the most part, but it was an approximation. And when you get into really high masses or great speeds, which when something is accelerating to a fast enough speed, it actually gains mass. That's one thing innate in the relativity. So he basically updated Newton's classical physics into a more precise version. But then when you get into the very small, the quantum realm, which is like molecules and atoms.
I've seen Ant-Man, and I've seen Ant-Man and the Wasp. So I know where the quantum realm is.
Exactly. So in the quantum realm, everything is in a sort of a haze of probability that until you actually look at where it is and measure, things can kind of, it's not like it could be here, it could be there. It literally is here and there. An electron cloud around an atom, it's spinning so fast that it looks like a cloud. It's literally that electron is a haze until you bring another atom into it, and then it decides where it was or where it interacted. And when you get into small enough realms and large enough masses, quantum mechanics and general relativity just don't work together. They're like two penises. You're writing this down, two penises? Yeah. Just make sure. Yeah.
I've got it. I'm trying to just draw it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it just doesn't work. They say completely opposite things.
Right. So because I guess like basically for me and maybe for most other people who are less familiar with the subject is just like classical physics versus quantum. Quantum I think like sci-fi shit like space or just like super small microscopic stuff. But so is it does kind of have to do with speed, like once you get like there's throwing a heavy object will drop sooner, but then when you get to things like the speed of light or like these intangible or unquantifiable things, is that when quantum physics
is the way we describe the very small. So when a girl's like, "Yo, bro, you got super quantum on me," you're probably not a compliment. She's saying,
"Oh, so great." That's usually what girls say to me.
Yeah, I hear they call you Ant-Man.
Yeah. So I always thought that was like a reference like Paul Rudd, like, "Yo, you Paul Rudd in this bitch." Thank you.
Yep.
Like, "Yo, you going quantum."
And that's the thing about quantum mechanics is you can exist in both realms. Like both can be true. Have you heard of Schrodinger's cat?
Yeah, I've heard it. I'm not really sure what the hell it means.
It's basically a way to bring up the small quantum state to a level where we can get a little more acquainted with it. The idea is that a cesium atom is in it'll decay either one way or the other, and whatever mechanism is causing it's around a pill of cyanide. So the cesium, if it decays or it doesn't, it'll either break the pill in cyanide or it won't. And if you put it in an enclosed box that no one's looking at and there's a cat in there, you don't know which way the atom has gone because it's probabilistic. At its very core, nature is going to be a probability, and we experience one or the other when we observe it. So that's why the observer has a role, and that's where all the the woo-woo, like quantum, like your thoughts affect reality. It's like, well, kind of. It's more the act of observing changes things.
Okay.
The choice you make to observe or not affects whether a quantum state is going to collapse into an actual, one side or the other, or just remain in a superposition. And if you don't open the box to look in, technically the cat is in a superposition of being both alive and dead. So it's because you don't know whether or not the cesium atom has gone one way or the other, you don't know whether the poison has opened up, and you don't know whether the cat has died.
Wow. So quantum physics then is getting more into that less
It
physical side of nature, like thing probability and kind of just things that are less physically tangible and understandable to like the human eye or the human touch or
is
things like that.
essentially on Richard Feynman, a famous physicist who worked on the Manhattan Project and was an awesome jokester, really funny dude. But he, in all seriousness, said if you think you understand quantum mechanics, you don't, because it is so non-intuitive.
Hmm.
But to me, the way I interpret it is that at its very core, nature is essentially nothing built upon itself in a way that folds up into something that you can kind of see. Like most of this is
Hmm.
empty space. If you just but by how atoms are, like the nucleus of an atom is like the size of like if the electron cloud is the atmosphere, then the nucleus would be the size of an apple. So like the entire Earth, most of the mass is in an apple type situation. So most of an atom is empty space. But because of electromagnetism, or what we call that, you can't put you experience solidity.
That's also tied into like theory of relativity kind of concepts,
It's
right?
yeah, they're tied in, and the very interesting part is that they're so mind-bogglingly accurate at predicting in their own realms. But when you put them together, they're obviously both incorrect because they don't come up with a conceivable answer, which is why we know a lot of what's happening in the universe, but we don't know what happens inside of a black hole or at the beginning of the universe, the Big Bang, as we think about. I'm actually listening to an audiobook I was listening to on my drive back from Amarillo. Shout out Amarillo.
Hey, nice.
It's called The 4% Universe, talking about dark energy and dark matter, which you've heard that term before.
Only on Star Trek. With
uh,
the reboot with the dark with the red matter and the dark matter, yeah.
yes, yeah. The idea is that there is something, some energy or some force in our universe that's causing it to expand faster and faster. So you think if it's an
Right,
explosion, and then it'll just kind of collapse in on itself,
right.
or it'll explode and then just kind of stop eventually. What's happening, we figured out by looking at supernovae. These guys in the 90s is when they figured out that the universe is actually inflationary and it is growing at an ever faster rate,
Mm.
which means there must be some energy pushing it out faster. I personally think there are elements that we don't quite, we're sort of not asking the right questions, like why is the universe expanding in an inflationary way? It's like, well, what is it expanding into, kind of thing. Like
Well,
if you
so and because I'm familiar with the concept that the universe is constantly expanding, but if the universe is just this inconceivably vast concept, then I just don't really, you know, how, yeah, how is it expanding? I mean,
well, that's
and
the
I
thing,
guess
it's not
that's your question. What is it expanding into?
right, or and that's not really the best way of putting it because it's not expanding into anything, but sort of the way I look at it, and me being the world-renowned future physicist that I am.
Hell
um,
yeah.
I remember Nassim Haramein had a theory that Jamie Janover at Workout 2012. He's a
I know Jamie Janover.
yeah. So he was playing with
He-
Everyone Orchestra, and I had this like
right.
unbelievable experience seeing the works for the first time, and then seeing Everyone Orchestra. And like, I want to do that. And then he gave this talk about Nassim Haramein's theory.
That's the unified field theory.
Yeah, exactly. So he figured it out. Which whenever someone's like, I totally figured it out, it's like, well, probably not. Like
A
even
lot of
Einstein.
people at festivals think they figured out the unified. Brother, we're all in this field together. This is unified field right here, brother.
It'd be exactly right. Exactly right. But his concept that kind of resonated with me was the idea that the energy could come from. So if you have like a ball at the top of a hill and it starts rolling down the hill, if you're in the ball and you feel it rolling, you might be wondering, where's this energy that's pushing us outward, or like that's, you're in a gravitron and you're sticking to the walls. Like if you're in the gravitron, you don't know it's spinning. Why are you sticking to the walls? Why is this force pushing you down? Well, if you look at the entire universe, maybe on top of some metaphorical hill that's rolling down towards a bottom, that could be the energy that's being released. That could be the dark energy. So I
Hmm.
think it gets into
It's
some of
like
that, but
it's the alien in Men in Black, the aliens rolling the marbles.
exactly, it's all the aliens' fault.
Okay, I have a question. As somebody that's into physics, are you a fan of Chris Nolan's Interstellar?
I'm trying to remember which one that was because there was
That
two.
that's McConaughey in space. That's black holes. That's where they're
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
okay, okay.
find a new human colony. But there's the black hole planet, and there's the tidal wave planet because it's close proximity to the black hole and the gravities and
I
like the
like
time
that it
dilation
was.
concept.
I like that it was a popular movie. I like that it got into
Yeah,
that. into that type of area, and
Yeah.
I didn't. I got what they were going with at the end, and it was a well done plot point. You know, like
Hmm.
it worked with the what I know about the theories in a way that made it an interesting story.
Yeah.
I wasn't super sold on the entire concept, and it felt a little corny to me, I
Hmm.
guess.
Why? Just because Anne Hathaway couldn't quantify love?
Yeah, well, no, that in in
You can't
Contact,
quantify it, Anne. It's
in
love. I mean,
Contact, who's the chick in Contact?
oh, I can't remember. I haven't seen Contact in so
It's a
long.
good movie, and that
It really is. I would like to see it again. I do. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, to be honest.
and she quantifies love, and it happens in no time at all because she does this whole experience while the ball's dropping. It's supposed to transport her into another dimension where the aliens, through her dad, were speaking to her. So they're like, build this thing. And
Oh, Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster.
We're talking.
Yeah.
Man, I almost mixed it up with Species for a second there. No, yeah, Contact. There's a
Is that
whole
not
lot
also
of
Jodie
stars.
Foster?
No, that's somebody else. Yeah, that's Contact is yeah, Jodie Foster. There's a whole lot of stars out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so that's fair. I mean, that's a lot of people like, he Christopher Nolan worked with like a physicist and came up with all these, and of course it's not like scientifically accurate.
Well, I don't think it was not accurate, but the problem right now is we don't know enough about how things actually are to say if something's accurate or not. You know, you hear about string theory, people call it a philosophy because there's no predictions that can be made with it. So it's essentially it's this great, beautiful mathematical structure that could describe reality, but there's no way to connect it with reality. So people are like, well, it's not really saying anything other than that it's this cool internally consistent mathematical theorem that could describe a universe.
Right. It's
So
but it's all theoretical, right? I mean, that isn't that the whole like. I mean, I guess that's not like the point of quantum physics, but when we're talking about these things,
well,
it's
that's the
all unproven theories, right?
I don't want to get too in the weeds, even though I do. I'm very passionate about this type of stuff.
We
But
getting heady AF
AF,
on this pod. This is a
yeah,
Saturday evening podcast.
this is
We
a
getting
Saturday. I
heady.
didn't even get high yet.
Really
Man,
impressive.
I know. I know.
Yeah, this would be confusing if you were.
I'm in a superposition of states where I'm in you know I'm in a superposition.
Superposition.
Superposition. Yeah, so that's where two states are. The way that Weinstein talked about it was it's like having 75 cents of euros in your pocket and 25 cents of American currency, a quarter. And every time you reach into your pocket, someone's like, "Do you have euros or dollars in your pocket?" And you're like, "Well, I kind of have both." But the superposition would be each time you reach in, if you reach in 4 times, one time you're going to pull out only American dollars, and then 3 times you're going to pull out only euros. So it's that's what he's saying, where it can't really predict certain things accurately.
Well, that's just a probability
Right, but the
equation, right?
probability is when you actually look in there, it's not that you're going to find 75 cents of one and 25 cents of the other. It's that 3 out of 4 times you're going to find all of one, and one at a time you'll find all of the other one. So
Okay.
it's not really it doesn't really line up with reality that well.
Right.
But the quantum mechanics is crazy because it actually was completely. It's one of the most proven theories of science. There was this theory by John Bell that was based off of the Einstein-Podolsky-Rosen thought experiments of 1932 or 35, where it basically introduced entanglement, which is two particles that are entangled in such a way that if they're on opposite sides of the universe or right next to each other, when you observe one, it instantly collapses the state of another. So that if you were flipping a coin in Boston where you are right now and you caught it and it's
Connecticut.
heads,
I'm in Connecticut.
Connecticut. Okay, so exactly.
Different coins.
Exactly. So different coin. So two sides of the same coin. So if you catch it in Connecticut, and I'm here in Baltimore, and yours is heads, mine would automatically be tails. But when it's spinning in the air, it could be either one.
Okay.
And using that concept, which Einstein called spooky action at a distance.
Spooky action at a distance?
Yeah, that should be our album.
Dude, fire.
Yeah, that's pretty good, right?
Yo, that's Back to Basic presents. Yeah, we're both writing that one down.
Yep. Action at a distance.
Why is it spooky?
Because it's weird that if you're in Connecticut, for example, just picking a random state out of the hat.
I'm actually there.
And wow, what are the odds?
What are the probability?
and you were to catch a coin and it was heads and mine instantly was tails, why is like it's almost like they're the same particle, it's just like the opposite side of it, and it's weird that something would be able to it happens instantaneously. It's not something that would happen over the speed of light. If I was here and you were on Alpha Centauri, it would still happen instantaneously.
But aren't we, so? But we're talking about two different coins, right? I have a coin, you have a coin. We're both flipping them simultaneously.
Sort of. That's sort of what we don't understand about entanglement. It's kind of the same coin.
Okay. Is this like some alternate dimensional kind of shit now we're getting into, or what?
No, because this is actual real.
This is our dimension. We're in the same dimension.
We're in the same dimension. We're just in a different area. You're in, where are you, Connecticut or something?
Connecticut.
Cool. I'll figure it out. But so in 1968, John Bell came up with a theory saying, well, if you actually perform this experiment, here's an experimental apparatus, and if this number is above this, then Einstein was right. If this number is below this in your experiment, then Einstein was wrong. A few years later, two independent labs looking at the same theory in 1972 both were like, oh, cool, let's see if we can do this, and independently, without knowing each other were doing it, performed this experiment and got the same result, proving quantum mechanics right and Einstein wrong. And since then, they've done the experiment several more times, a bunch more, and it's been proven to hundreds of standard deviations, I believe. So if something is a few standard deviations in one direction, that's a 90% like 95% confidence interval. This has been done to 99.99999%. We're pretty sure, as pretty much as sure as we can be with any physical theory, that quantum mechanics is right. So it's not wah wah wooey. It's just we can't explain it. It doesn't work within our intuition. But neither did a lot of things before we understood them better. And I think there's just a missing.
I'm confused as to how it's not just a probability, that it's not just a mathematical equation that says it's 50-50 that my coin will be heads or tails, and it's 50-50 that your coin will be heads or tails.
Well, that's how it is. If I'm flipping and you're flipping, it is. But it's 100% chance that if yours says heads, mine's going to instantly say tails.
But so why is that, though?
So we don't really know, but one way to entangle particles, okay, you have photons come out when an electron. This is going great, by the way. Everyone is still tuned so in here. I'm.
Can you imagine if this was a class right now? It would literally just be like everyone just like.
Well, and I
mean, there might be some people, dude, just like with dab rig out, just like. Yeah, people are like, what do you listen to? Quantum mechanics.
Shout out to Tony.
Ben Carey is explaining quantum mechanics right now.
Well, and it's so frustrating because I feel like I have a better grasp on it. And whenever I hear Joe Rogan talking about it with people, and I'll hear him say some concept, and I'll be like, well, it's not quite that if you actually think about it this way. Mm-hmm. But now when I'm sitting here talking to you and, whatever else is going on, I'm just like not as on the ball with it.
I mean, no, but we're talking about something where it's pretty like esoteric and kind of like it's not like a thing where I know a lot about this. I can explain it. The fact that that uncertainty and that questions just lead to more questions, isn't that kind of the nature of what we're talking about anyway?
It sure is, and that's what that's why I'm enjoying this kind of one-on-one with you, because when we are talking with another basis, we can get into the weeds with base stuff and life stuff, but with you and me, we can kind of keep this process going and delve into it. And I assure you, even though we probably won't talk about it next time we do this one-on-one, I'm going to have a much greater understanding, because I am annoyed with how I'm just not able to. And that's how I've learned over time too. I'll have the same concept, 4 or 5 times, and the 5th time I've learned how to explain it to someone else, and that's when I start to really understand it. And that does get back into more approachable topics and ideas, is that you can start to understand something, but until you can like teach it, and that's what I'm learning with getting back to basics, starting to teach base.
You're learning everything you're teaching, and you're becoming a better.
How to explain? If I explain it better to someone else, I can explain it better to myself.
Totally. Isn't that wild that you're like, and when you start to explain something, explaining things just makes you ask more questions, and you go, well, why do I do that? And then you're exploring. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, getting into
but no, I mean to get away from basics again is, I mean we've talked about how like
when we back to basics.
we talked when we first came up with the idea for Back to Basics. Do you remember that the base concept was to have on basis and not ever talk about base?
Yeah, that I really pushed hard for that, and I am both proud of you and happy that we didn't do it. but I'm also kind of disappointed because it could have just because as soon as we start talking about bass, it's like whoa, 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 whoa. That's not this podcast.
Right,
It
but
would be
it's
great if
but
we're holding bases the whole time, and we have talked very little about bass. The only bass we
yeah,
really did was your beautiful song. That
which
was
might not have been recorded. We'll
it
find
was
out.
completely not recorded, and it was the greatest performance of any art form
Thank
on
you.
any instrument. I mean, it was
Oh well,
like
you
Harry
said it,
Potter's
not me.
wand. Yeah.
Oh wow. But I always the quantum mechanics thing is super interesting to me. I love that you're passionate about that, and it's something I don't know shit about. So it's interesting for me. I'm sure that
Yeah,
I'm sure it will be interesting to other people too.
yeah, and I guess that's sort of the idea is what we could try to appeal to others, and we sort of do that with our music too. We can try to appeal to what other people would want and other sensibilities, but I think we have the most, especially these days, what people really uh, latch onto is authenticity. And like, if
Mm.
they see our passion, they might not understand what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't understand what I'm talking about. I'm trying to explain it better, but just the fact that we're trying to explore it and someone can,
Yeah.
what I really like about podcasting in general is it feels like a way to, especially when you're on the listening end of it. I've never done this part of it. Oop,
Ooh. Excuse you.
that's my Moog siren.
Oh, that's the siren,
Yeah, yeah,
dude. That
got that all
thing's a
set up.
beat.
We're doing. I'll be doing some run through of my little studio, and I'll show. I have it under the glass table. It's fucking cool. I'll show you.
Share it on the Back to Basics page.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. But
Yeah, but the intangible. It's fun, and that's the whole thing with this podcast, right? Like we were we were texting last night. We were going off on bass and life and bass, whatever. It's I love the concept of using bass and music as a foundation to
yeah,
talk about other
and that's
topics and just
sort of
life.
what I've done in my life too. Like
Yeah.
I'm now more passionate about playing bass and being involved in it. And when I started, there's certain things like I was really honored with what John said about my feel and my groove. And
Mm.
when I was getting down on myself recently, I got back home from this whole trip and I started like trying to play again and get ready for Home Fest coming up.
Yeah.
And I just like, man, I fucking suck. And then I started playing other things and like doing what I do well. I'm like, okay, I do certain things well, and I'm tapped in a certain way. But I've used the bass as a way to kind of guide my life forward in a certain way. It's my career now, and it's
Yeah.
what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But even if not, even if I was just kind of more casual with it, I feel like it would still be such a grounding force in my life and sort of like a centerpiece.
Yeah.
And I always kind of expect that. And what I was kind of saying about the listening to podcasts, you just sort of feel like you're part of a group, and even though you're not able to interact and like say it. When I was younger, and even up to this day, I didn't really have my people. Like I didn't have like a core group of friends that
Mm.
sort of in college, a little bit in high school, but I was always kind of an outsider.
Mm.
And being able to listen to those podcasts and just sort of like chime in, I just felt like I
You
had
feel like you're hanging out with them.
yeah, I feel like so that's what I'm sort of hoping to do with especially with these podcasts too. Like I think everyone's going to enjoy hearing us interview other people. I enjoy them a lot.
Yeah.
But then
Totally,
having
me
these
too.
kind of check-ins are letting people sort of into our world and be part of this experience. And I want to, as we go forward, like you're saying, with the live podcasting and getting people involved, I want to have people, ask questions or like say what
Yeah.
we should like talk about, or like, hey bros, like talk about the Phrygian scale or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that there's a lot of opportunity to do that, and that's the thing right now with these live Q&As, and that interaction is so cool and interesting, especially with music. But it's there this podcast is always going to have that casual nature to it. I mean, that's just kind of how we are as people. We're both pretty casual and like to just talk about whatever, pub talk as it were.
Yeah.
Um and it's like the podcasts that I enjoy listening to are the more casual ones. Not I don't it like it's a podcast isn't a lecture. I don't need somebody
Right.
explaining bullet points to me.
It's a conversation.
It's a conversation, man. And it's like the more like we on Dead Last Podcast, we'll always just like cite a wrong fact, and we'll be like, "Is that accurate?" And be like, yeah, we just said it." So it's
Yep. Well, it's funny. I forget who said it or where I heard it, but apparently you can cite Joe Rogan's podcast as part of a bibliography now.
Wow.
I looked into it, it's like 99.4% accuracy because
Like on Wikipedia, there's like Joe Rogan footnotes.
Like if you're writing a paper, you can, if they say a fact, I don't know if this is fucking true. So kids, if you're out there writing papers, definitely do this. You won't fail.
There we go. Now we're talking.
Yeah. Now we're talking. But yeah, apparently because they look into it. But yeah, it's just the idea of like even going into this. The reason I wanted to start this with you is I thought it'd be fun and like a cool way to interact. And even leading up to this one, I was just like, all right, well, got to make sure I'm prepared and like got questions and like I don't want to just like go in there and have it be, but that is kind of what I want. Like I do want to just
Right.
kind of go, you know, it's like I didn't smoke weed before, I'm not like
Right.
drinking or anything, but I want to
Yeah.
do, I think our next one we should, you know, have like a beer or something and
Yeah.
see
Oh
what
well,
happens there.
I just smoked a blunt and drank a fifth of Jameson, so I think we're just on different levels.
Okay, yeah, well you're extremely cogent.
I'm not. I'm not. I do have a
It's that
seltzer.
Connecticut air.
I have a seltzer here, and I want to bring up a remark you made last night. I sent you a picture, and you saw my seltzer. And what did you say? You said oh, that there. I see I'm a touring musician, so I'm drinking a seltzer.
Seltzer, yes.
So what's that about, man? What you got against seltzer?
I got nothing against seltzer except no
Okay.
one. Well, I guess it was when we started touring with Dopapod and they got it on their rider every time, and then we all of
Okay.
a sudden just started drinking. Like La Croix came out of nowhere. There was
Mhm.
nothing, and then La Croix just everywhere.
Yeah,
And it just
I
seemed
saw it in
like,
Colorado the first time. I was like, "The fuck is this?"
and it's just like that's what you do. You just get it. You know, I don't understand it at all. When I was younger, I hated seltzers, but obviously when you're drinking tequila, like that makes
Yeah.
sense. I get
Yeah.
it. But then it just kind of crept into life, and we just have them all. We got off the end of the road, you know, and just be drinking them all the time. And then seeing you have one is just like, okay, I see you.
So seltzers were introduced to you on tour, so it's become a tour thing for you.
It feels very much like I never drink it at home.
Really?
I have like 2 in my fridge from a tour from like a year and a half ago that I haven't touched.
Really?
Yeah,
I was texting you. I went out. I was at the grocery store before. I got a box of Polar Raspberry Lime Seltzer.
I don't understand it.
What?
What's wrong with water?
Oh, I have a water too. I love, yo.
You have both?
Yeah, man.
Why don't you just get sparkling, like the fizzy, and then just put it in your water? You know, that powder stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, now that makes sense. That makes sense.
I mean, look. I think that why I got introduced to seltzer and why a lot of people that I know like it is it's a great alternative to soda. Like I don't really drink soda anymore. I did as a kid. I was obsessed with vanilla Coke when I was a kid.
Vanilla Coke is so good.
I'm not gonna. It's
Vanilla Coke.
shout out, but I will still if I'm on the road. If it's a late night gas station stop, you know what I mean, and I'm just like faded in the gas station, just lit up, like not thinking about like shit, not being like, okay, I probably don't want to get that. It's vanilla Coke. I'm going vanilla Coke.
Let me
get some
ask
hot
you
fries.
this: if you want to cool it down, do you put vanilla ice in there?
Have you ever had a vanilla Coke float?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try that. Yeah.
Shit.
Just throw some fucking ice cream in there. Yeah.
All right.
But
All right. I've actually been doing well with not eating ice cream. I am down to 189 as of today.
Hey, nice. Oh, fire,
I'm
man.
working on. I popped way back up there after my my fucking Amarillo back to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Eating. It was like being on tour.
Oh, well, you were just How long was that drive?
The drive we did it in 3 days or something
Wow.
like that. But it was so weird. It was like being on tour again.
Yeah.
Where we were driving ourselves. And I'm driving a big vehicle and like
Yeah.
you know, waking up and going, but we didn't have the payoff of stopping at a venue. I mean, granted, setting up's not great all the
Right.
time, and then staying till 3, and then getting to a hotel, and then having to wake up at 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever. Get moving isn't great, but being able to, you're moving from place to place, and then you get to play a show for fans and have a good time and hang out with them. It was all of the traveling of touring without the actual playing music part, and that
Yeah, right.
it gave me a
But
new-
you're also with your fiance. You're not
and it
with all
was-
the boys and the bunks and everything.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable and I had a good time, but it kind of recentered me into what this whole thing has been doing is like one, how obviously fucking lucky we are to be doing this, and as hard as it gets when it's your everyday thing, it's the same thing as like people are going to be home so often that when they've been home this whole time, so when you can go out again, people are going to fucking love going out, and I think enjoy it and appreciate it even more. I'm just really appreciating obviously being home and being able to have my space and my time, but I'm ready to get back out there and start doing what we do again.
So it gave you that thirst for the road a little bit when you were out there.
And when I'm thirsty, I drink a seltzer.
I mean, seltzer is just refreshing as fuck, man. That's why there's just something about that carbonation, that fizzy, that like, I don't know, man. It does it for me. I get that's not for everybody. And what's wild is that like depending where you're based geographically in the country, there's different seltzer that people drink.
Yep.
Like New York City, they fuck with Spindrift. Have you ever tried Spindrift?
No.
It sucks. I hate Spindrift, dude.
Why does it? How is it any different?
It's different. It is. It's just like there's some. I got my buddy Max Devlin, who's a badass bassist. I was at his place last summer, about a year ago. I think we were just texting about it. He's my homie that introduced me to Joe Cruz, MBJ Guitars, and Carl Thompson. And he's like, you want a seltzer? I'm like, yeah. He's like, here you go, Spindrift. I'm like, why do you have Spindrift? And it's something, I don't know. It's thick. It almost feels like it's mucusy or something. There was one festival we played, and that was the Hospitality. I couldn't deal with it. I'm a Polar seltzer guy all the way. Polar. I'm pretty sure it's either Connecticut or Mass. It's just pure. It's good shit. It's so refreshing to me.
I like water. It's this
Sweet
thing.
water.
It's 2 parts hydrogen, 1 part oxygen, and it is refreshing. And I drink a lot of it. And
and zero part bubble, and that's my issue with it.
Stagnant. When you got the kind of when you have the kind of pizzazz that I work with on a daily basis, regular water is just fine.
You got enough. Okay.
Yeah, it's good to go.
All right. I do want to ask a question though about Home Fest. I was just texting with your boy Big Greg before tonight, actually.
Okay.
He had hit me up about putting together. He's hitting up some Dome Fest alum to put together little videos to send them about past Dome Fest experiences and stuff like that. And I was like, cool, yeah, I can do that for you tonight. I'm about to be on a podcast with your boy. And so he said what up to. He said, say what up to Barnabas for me.
Barnaby Carvin. That's one of my Barnaby Carvin, Ken Berry, Kenneth Barrington, Bean Curry. It started with Bean Curry. Greg is he is the seltzer in my life. Truly.
Is he the nickname master? Is he the guy who's given everybody in the crew their nicknames?
It kind of happens naturally, but I think he's the one who grabs it out of the air and puts it out of his mouth. It's there. Like the nickname's there, and he's just one of the people that. And we're just sitting in practice years before, 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's like, yo, Bean Curry, because Ben Curry is just like Bean Curry, and he asked
works really well,
and it just slid right in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, so he's
Barnabas.
Yeah. Good old G. Shout out to G Money.
Greg's a man. He's like, I'm staying busy, man. You know me. I'm working on Home Fest. I'm working. As he does. So so I'm just curious as to some of the process that's going into that, and just let anybody that doesn't know what it is, and the Pigeons boys are doing. You guys are doing the virtual festival, and
it is a virtual flock party.
Virtual flock party. Yeah.
Virtual flock party. It is. We've had 10 years of Dome Fest. Jeremy started when we were in college with his friend Ben Kerwin, and Greg has since filled into that runner role. And they put together this incredible experience. It's the theory is about fields that are unified, a unified field theory, I think.
I think there's a podcast you can refer to if you have any questions.
Yeah, I can. It's bibliographized.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this would be a more intimate for anyone who saw the live from out there experience. That was us. Just we came back straight from tour and went straight into a place where we had lights set up, and it was like a big stage and a big venue feel, but then just recorded and then put out to people. So it was cool to have that and to give that experience, but we wanted to kind of give a different look as well. So this will be a little more, Home Fest. Like I might be doing a piano set. I'm going to probably do it in my robe outside on the deck and just.
Hell yeah, you should do it in a robe.
Yeah, you're just like at home, just kind of hanging out and just vibing out. And it's what we were talking about with the podcast too.
Yeah, casual nature.
Yeah, one thing that's so that I look up to about our fan base, and like it inspires me, is how much of a tribal familial feel it is. And any good experience should be that way.
Yeah,
but it's so inclusive.
That sense of community. That's what it's about.
It's an open door type of thing. It's like, come on in and hang out with us and just be part of this.
So are you guys going to be doing stuff physically together, or are you all separately streaming?
You will be doing stuff together.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I'm in the midst of a quarantine period where I'm not going near anyone, so that I can, be safe, and then we'll still wear masks and be physically distant.
Okay.
And the space we're doing it in will be wiped down and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we want to get back together and play again and bring that to people.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
do it on the same weekend as Dome Fest because of the uncertainty and what was going on, but we're doing it as soon as we think it's safe and we're able to. And we have a lot of cool different things we're doing for it, recording like little videos, and we might show our pets or something like that. And
Okay. Give
we're
us a
also
sneak peek. Come on, give the Back to Basics crowd that sneak Pigeons Home Fest preview. You know they want it.
so if you recall me mentioning me filming my studio setup,
Yeah.
you might get a chance to see all of the Pigeon studio setups
Oh, cool.
in a small video that Greg's gonna put together because he's fucking his work ethic is out of control. He and Jeremy both they just will be playing shows and at set breaks they'll be working on Dome Fest and like
Oh, I've seen them. They come out of the trailer and they're just on their after the set. I'm like,
un
oh, what's up, boys? Like, what's going on? They're like emails.
and they'll be doing it on tour 5 months before Dome Fest. They're still doing it like
Right.
every day is putting.
Yeah, the boys work hard. They have a great work ethic.
It's such a passionate thing, and I've seen in Jeremy's eyes, and like I finally was understanding why it's worth it. It's you put your life and your blood and sweat and tears to bring enjoyment to people and have people come in and just share this incredible moment, and it's about everyone having fun.
Yeah.
That's the joy that it brings to Jeremy and Greg and to all of us,
Yeah.
for being part of it. So we're trying to tap into that a little bit and
Cool.
give people,
I dig that.
something like that.
I like that. I like the concept of going about it from really giving you that sense of community, and that what Domefest really has, that close knit family. You guys are all chilling, going around the golf carts, chilling with your fans. There's no like the VIP shit. Everyone, the artists and the fans and the patrons, everyone's just there having fun together.
The way I look at it is the way I've looked at like people that I consider friends, like some of my best friends. I have so many that I just haven't met yet and don't know they're my friend.
Yeah.
I might be talking to you right now, and in 5 years we're gonna be hanging out every day.
Right.
But there's so many cool, awesome people in the world, and there's so many good bands and so many good fans.
Yeah.
That it's just a gathering point for it to come together and like just come find your favorite, your next favorite band besides us and the Special, obviously.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. But that's the thing right now that people need and that they're getting from this virtual experience, like just hanging out in chats. We especially did the Cheen stream on Thursday, and our concept for that.
I meant to check that out.
It went really well. It was really fun. It was casual. We wanted it to be less of like a show, not a special. We weren't like going guns blazing, playing like hard and shit. We wanted it to be a glimpse into our music studio where we rehearse and we write. And this is what it's like when we're hanging out playing. It's a goofy time. Like Rory goes into the stupid rock beat. Johnny's on the piano. It's not the same as a show.
That the fans don't get to really experience. And for us too, and I'm sure for you guys, like when we were first starting out, we could kind of bring that element in a little more into shows. But as you start, performing for the whole crowd in the whole room, and there's not 10 people there anymore, you start creating a product and to put out, and that's cool to develop and to hone. And there's his own exciting aspect of that, and it's a incredible feeling to be doing that. But to be able to strip it back and show people again like that, the Bean Curry moments, like and there's like where you're just kind of hanging out and just doing your thing, and it'll feel like that because it's just gonna be us and some cameras, and Manny will be hanging out, flipping the light switches on and off and shit.
Manny's just gonna have like a lamp string that he's just going on and off. That was not the right motion for that.
That's how he does it. Actually, I've seen him.
I've seen Manny work.
I get to stand on stage and see Manny work every day.
Right.
But yeah, it's just a different feel and different look, and just
cool.
we're all trying to do what we can to entertain ourselves, and that's how we've done it our whole careers. It's all about, like we were talking about, it's not about what we think other people are going to want. Even as we're developing our product, it's not necessarily we look at what works and what doesn't, but it's more what would work for us and working around that. So it's the same kind of idea. Like, what would we want to see? How would we want to connect with our favorite band or our third favorite band, whatever we are.
I think that there's no substitute for live music, right? And everyone's learning that, and everyone knows that. So it's like you have to switch gears from these live streams, and it's not, don't try and make it a substitute for live music because there isn't going to be one. So what it's making people explore different avenues, and it's pulling back the curtain a little bit, and I think it's enjoyable for the musicians as well as the fans.
Companies never thought people would be able to really work from home and have it work out.
Right.
And I knew you could. The same thing. Like, I know there are ways to connect with fans and connect with people, not always touring across the country. I think that's always going to be an integral part of what we're doing, but I've envisioned being able to wake up at my house, go to my VR room, sound check at like 3 p.m., make sure everything's good to go, and come back after dinner, play a 3-hour set, and then go sleep in my bed that night and wake up to take my kids to school the next morning. Like, that is, the way things are going. It's
that's
awesome.
A very mature 2020 adult goal.
I am happy to be home right now.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Well, you guys fucking tore relentlessly. I mean, it's like, and I was even just saying with Greg before, man. Talking about he just had a little girl, and it's like, man, what a perfect time to be
Yeah,
off the road.
yeah. I have a feeling that Goldie, before she came down into our earthly realm, was just like COVID,
Yeah, like
COVID. Boop, beep, beep, beep.
brilliantly executed.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
If
incredible.
anyone has the imagination and foresight to think of that, it would be Greg and Becca's child.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, should we get back to basics a little bit here? I'm kind of curious what you've been cooking up on the base these days, bud.
Yeah, well, just the other day, I just started, and I haven't even really dissected it. I was going to talk with my teacher about it, but I was just messing around. Finally, sat down again and got my studio set up. When I got back, I had to clean my apartment and like get everything
Yeah.
set up for like friends' parents or Cece's parents came over because we
Yeah.
were quarantined with them. So we finally got to show them our apartment before we moved out, which we were saying, sorry, we're not going to be able to do that because we can't be close.
Yeah.
Because we had been in the same place for so long, it's just like we're already in the circle. So I cleaned up, moved my studio out of the way so I'd have a dining room table. This is occurring on half my dining room table right now.
This is in your new place though?
Not in the new place yet. New place is July 1st.
Okay, cool.
So I finally got it set up, and I was just messing around, and I don't know where I'm going with it yet. I don't know what it is or what's going on with it, but this is what I got so far.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that's going to go.
Nice, man. That's some beautiful chords. The tone is really crisp, man. You're obviously going into an interface there, right?
Going straight in, and I had my bass, I guess, plugged in too much, and this is an active-passive switch here. So
Is that an Ibanez or you rock the Schecter?
this is an Ibanez. My old
Okay.
is a Schecter, my 4-string.
Right.
I love that. I want to eventually be able to switch around between. I know you have multiple basses, and I would like to, certain like the Liquid fast slappy song.
Right.
It just works better. I only use the top 4 strings. It's lighter. I can run
That
around.
that sounds like the Ben Carey tone though, right there.
That's it. And actually, another song I've been working on for years, and I finally got the second part. We were on, I think it was the first or second week of our recent tour, and I was finally like sitting in a green room after buying the coolest shoes I've ever bought. I like woke up and just was flowing and had this great breakfast. Gave my other half a burrito to this guy who was just playing guitar. He was like,
Nice.
I was like, here, take this.
Fuck yeah.
And I was just sitting down in the green rooms, like in Southern California. It wasn't Solana Beach. It was, I can't remember the name. San Luis Obispo. Boom. There it is finally. And I came up with the second part of it, and I'm getting one of the chords. I'm showing Jeremy. I was like, oh, why don't you try this instead? And I fucking love it. And so
Nice.
the first part, again, I've had it for years. I think I was canvassing on the streets of DC when it just popped into my head, and I went home and like tried it out. And it's just this. That's just that, the chord progression, brain stew and harder, better and shit.
Sure, yeah, it's the descending thing, but it's like you've got the chord on top. It's cool. Is that a Pigeon song yet, or is that just a new? It's just a Ben Carey idea for now.
That's definitely. This is one of my a lot of my ideas are more melancholic, like chili peppery vibe.
Yeah,
like
very
slower,
big flea vibes. Big flea vibes.
Yeah, like it's the slower stuff. This is one that I think can actually translate to Pigeons.
I could already see Greg scatting over that.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's another one we were working on that we played somewhat regularly on sound checks. That it just doesn't. it's kind of this weird time I'm trying to figure out. But I like doing weirder stuff that's still approachable. But I'm trying to work through those more. But yeah, when
those tenths, dude, I love the sound of those tenths.
Yeah, it was originally C to back to C major instead of a C sharp is what Jeremy suggested. So it was, and originally,
right.
But Jeremy was like, "Why don't you just try C sharp?"
Oh yeah.
And just like that those are the types of things. And when I do the Ben Plays Piano set, it's those everything's normal until there's one tiny little part that's a little different enough to weird you out in a good way and then connect you back to the song. To me, that's what songwriting's all about, and that's like what I'm trying to wrap my head around and figure out. And I wish I just wrote more so I'd get better at it. But
well, that's all it is too, and it's just writing more makes you a better writer. And that's, I think, like what you just brought up is one of like the core fundamental things people not necessarily struggle with, but just wrestle with or try to wrap their head around, where it's like, there's chord progressions we know that work, but what about if you switch up one of those chords? Is that going to now enhance it and make it a new, special, unique thing? Or are listeners going to go, hey, I don't want that chord. I want the chord that I know where that resolves, where you're going to do like a 2-5-1. You're going to do like, and I know it's going to go here. Or am I going to do a, and then am I going to do this? And you're going to fuck with people.
Yeah, but then it kind of gets back into it. We were listening to When It Rains It Pours by Twiddle, and that E major after, so it's C major. And then this is, to be in key, it's going to be E minor.
Right.
But it leads right into that.
Right. Yeah.
That one little off, like, wrong part.
Right.
And it makes the entire song. The whole song is just those 4 chords. But it, it just kind of works out together.
Yeah, we've done it when we were on the road with Twiddle. We did our Wear It remix. We did like an old school 90s hip hop version of When It Rains It Pours, just with like John playing the chords, and I was just doing like a microchord 808 bass line.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's just like it's a really simple song. That's a really effective song. That's just and that's just the mark of. I mean, Mahali is a great songwriter, and that's why their music has such wide appeal.
Yep. Yeah, I've really enjoyed digging into that, and that actually works well with I Man by the Biscuits as well.
Oh, okay.
Like I have them kind of mashed together a little bit.
Right.
And if you stay tuned to Homefest and check out my 15-minute set I'm gonna be putting out there, I'll make sure to include that in there.
There you go. You get a little Biscuits Twiddle mashup, man. That's good. That's about to break the jam world.
It goes into Puppet String by
Humphreys. Yeah. I remember you asking Stasek last summer at Disc Jam Festival. You were like asking him how to like play puppet string, and he was like telling you, and I'm like, oh shit, yeah. How do you play puppet string?
And it's just 1-5-9s. He's just like,
that's a crazy bass line. We got to have Stasek on the podcast and get him to dissect that bass line.
Well, that's what I'm from. I didn't go back into it, but I was trying to learn it on my own on bass, so I could play it on piano.
Yeah.
I was like trying to figure it out and like learn it, and he's like, "Dude, it's just 1-5-9s, 1-5-9, 1-5-9, 1-5-9-9-9."
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
The whole way through, and it sounds so complicated, but it's so fucking simple.
But he's got there's a really smooth technique element that he uses that makes that slap and pop style really work.
Yeah, he's a monster too.
Yeah, that he would be a great guest.
Yeah, I should write that down. Well, this has been very fun, and I look forward. We should do some more of these evening ones. I'm liking this.
I know. I'm vibing to the evening. I don't have to pee like I usually do. I only have water and a seltzer here. I'm usually like 2 coffees deep in my water, and like just like by the end of the interview, just like, all right, I don't want to cut this off, but I really have to pee.
Well, I got to get sushi, so I do have to cut this off.
What? I thought we were just getting started.
Yeah. This next section is Luke playing for the next hour and a half on his own. You want to show us anything else on your style?
Well, I mean, I guess I don't. Hopefully, we just had the the Moonlight Sonata recorded. If not, I'll just play a really quick thing. Just that in the spirit of what we're talking about with kind of the melancholy chordal stuff is really fun to play as solo bassist. Something I work on with a lot of my students is it's not always that fun to just sit around and. Like just do these like
I was grooving to that.
Yeah, it's half diminished, it's fire. But like there's something about, like, just playing a bass line can get kind of repetitive and redundant, but playing quarterly and melodically, you can do that shit on a bass and it can still be interesting. So I've been trying to do that. Well, I've just found my students really enjoy that. So me just being like a movie nerd, I've been trying to like dissect and analyze more film scores and apply them to the bass. So I'll just play one quick that I've been fucking with heavily, which is my man J-Dub, John Williams, Jurassic Park, one of my favorite.
Dubs.
J fucking
Oh,
Dub.
I do a Jurassic Park mashed up with Lion King on piano as well.
Yo. Okay, so I want then your opinion on my chordal approach to Jurassic Park. Okay, so check this out. I've got my EQ pedal on, so I know it's kind of. Is this sound a little better?
Oh man, you popped in there very British. I got my EQ pedal on.
Well, I've got my pedal on here. How is it sound, mate?
I thought that was your side project band.
The Flat, baby.
Yeah.
Man, the Flat would have been playing Domefest this year. I did a side deal with Greg. He agreed to that. We could headline.
Damn you.
That's the worst part. The worst part is the Flat not playing a Domefest.
That's it. You sound good. You sound good.
Okay, does this sound better? This or this or this?
That one I think.
Cleaner here. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll just play.
I think so.
Okay, here's my Jurassic Park theme. Ah. Woo! Ah. And then you got the main hook. Still working it out.
No, I love it, and I like the that's what bass does so well. When I was doing the ditones or whatever, just having you're doing so much more with so much less.
Right.
I really like the feel. It kind of swirls your insides around a little bit differently, and you can have a melody, just do whatever.
Right.
But the underneath, working with it, that counter melody it's really powerful, and the tone of the bass when it comes through like that, I
agree. It's such an interesting thing because we only have 4 strings that you really have to pick and choose what harmonic content you want to include in there. The bandwidth. You don't have a guitar or a piano where you can really include all this extra harmonic information. With bass, you're kind of just picking a bass note and a melody note.
Yep.
And
exactly.
that's what I was enjoying with those voicings for the Jurassic Park. Just like that.
Yeah, I really like that.
There's so much going on with the orchestra, but I was just trying to pick at the. Picking which note changes. We know the melody, but making a chordal, what to make a fourth, what to make a fifth, where you know what I mean.
And that's the kind of thing with what I really love about music, especially for a more not really scientifically minded, because I'm not as engineer minded, but just that type of approach is there is a way to approach it, but there's no right or wrong way. Like you can take it in any different direction, and that's where the art comes into, like the science aspect. It's like, okay, you're making fourths or fifths or thirds or whatever, but the way you do it and the way you put it together, music is about choice. It's about making a choice, which so is quantum mechanics as well. You're observing in a certain direction, and that's what kind of, and to get back a little bit onto that quantum mechanics thing. When I'm just kind of jamming around, I sometimes think of it as like the bubbly nature of the universe. So because of quantum mechanics, there's no point in space that's exactly zero, like nothing's happening in no times. There's always a little bit of movement. So if you have like a pendulum, according to quantum mechanics, it's never straight up and down. It's always kind of jiggling a little bit on a very tiny quantum realm. So all of space is teeming. It's like this quantum foam that's bubbling out. You have these virtual particles being created and destroyed. And that's what they think the universe came from. It's possible that over an infinite amount of time, an endless amount of time that just keeps going, one of these quantum fluctuations was big enough to spark the entire universe. So it's a random fluctuation of nothingness creates something. So out of nothing, God, or random chance, said, let there be light. and boom, there is everything that we experience. And to me, I feel that music, and when I'm playing, just kind of like jammed with feeling it. I feel like I'm taking wherever I'm feeling, wherever I'm tuned in, or wherever the musician is tuned in to that innate nature of reality, and just bringing it up into a level that can be experienced in our realm. And whether or not that's a bunch of mumbo jumbo or just like how I experience it, it's a philosophical, paradigm that I'm using to justify the feel. I think it does inform how I'm feeling and how I'm playing and how other people are receiving it. It's just like it really feels earnest and real to me.
Yeah, I mean that's back to basics as fuck, dude. Like, it really is. I mean, you're going from everything from your personal foundation, your human experience, and how that translates to a bass, to the fucking Big Bang Theory, how all life in the universe was created. And I mean, that's the fucking crazy cyclical nature of the universe, man.
And
Is
that's
that it is
the
all
basics.
related.
From nothing there is something, and that's what we're doing. And when people are tapping into this tribal connection, or like this, I want to feel part of something bigger. That's how I feel when I play music itself.
Right.
And so we as musicians are sort of the priest class of the religion of music. That agnostic religion, as I call it, because you don't need a god, or you can have one. Doesn't matter.
All jam bands are agnostic. I've been trying to enforce this concept on people.
Because you can. It doesn't matter, but you still can worship music. That's what we're doing. We're worshiping
Fuck yeah.
that aspect, however you want to do it. If you're worshiping by or just like grooving and feeling it, it doesn't matter. And even if you think like I'm just playing music, it's like no, you're using it, you're creating it and bringing it about in a way that can be honored and appreciated and connects people.
Right.
There's this
you don't have to be Jimi Hendrix on his knees, like conjuring a spirit off his flaming guitar.
But the
like
way he did
that's
that,
an awesome example of it. But you can form that connection from sitting at home and having an experience.
What it was, he hit this apex moment, and he was in all those states. But that wasn't just he got on stage one day and did it. He worked at it. He was playing on his own,
right.
And just zoning in, and just cool. It sounds cool, like I'm enjoying that and having fun. And then you get to this level where it's like, okay, in this venue, in this aspect, that's when you take it to that level. And he was a genius, and brought it to a level that was so just for visionary. He's such a visionary with that aspect. But you can be your own kind of mini visionary just by messing around at home. I remember the first times I was playing in my house, I was playing so quiet because I didn't want my family to hear me, because I'm like, I know I suck, but I know where I can go with it. Like I can tell that there's something more to it, and it still felt as real and as important then as it does now. Sometimes even more so, because I'm just more used to it now. It's like, oh yeah, I'm fucking have bass in my hands. Like I do it for a living. I have to play bass.
Right.
Now as I'm talking with you and thinking about it, like, holy shit, this is the wand. This is the connection.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're connecting yourself to your I mean, to the siren, bringing yourself back to those experiences, that magic you experienced as a kid. It changes, but yeah, it's different. I mean, that sounds like the fucking Westworld season 3 soundtrack.
So I heard you talking about Westworld. Were we talking about it together, or you were just posting?
I did a little rant on Facebook about it. Yeah.
That actually helped me not. I'd been like getting into it, and I thought it was just my not watching it religiously enough and like getting into it and like spending those moments. But I watched a couple episodes, and I still had the same kind of like feeling. I was like, okay, yeah, I remember how mind spun that made me.
Yeah.
And I was watching these episodes. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, like I'm pretty high. I'm like, I'm feeling this right now.
Yeah. Are you talking about season 1, or are you talking about the new season?
Well, now I'm talking about the new season, and I was like trying to have that same connection because it was so mind blowing to me, and it like really like it made me think about things in a different way. And so I was still trying to have that experience, but I'd finish an episode and be like, all right, yeah, that was cool. But then I'm not drawn to watch the next one.
Yeah,
I was, and when I finally saw that, I was like, oh, okay. It's just not as good.
No, you that was actually a really good way of summing it up, how you just put it. The Westworld season 1 made you think, and this puzzle box storytelling, like the narrative ingenuity in that season was incredible. It really, and some of the twists were so well executed, whether you fucking read Reddit or not, and every one of them was ruined. Like, it was incredible. And there wasn't that kind of mindfuck aspect to the new season. The new season was cool. I enjoyed it. But yeah, I mean, it was every episode was kind of like a cool, like heady kind of sci-fi thriller. but nothing that just goes, man, that was incredible, that was beautiful. There was no
Also,
like emotional heartstrings.
I just don't. I love the actor in Breaking Bad. I forget his name.
Oh, Aaron Paul.
Terribly cast in this season. I think it was not the right.
He was not great.
He's doing what he does, and he's doing it, his way, and that's fine. It's just that's not the way to have gone with it. Like, they took it and it's like, okay, now we're gonna make it like super approachable again. It's like it's robots versus humans in the future.
Yeah.
And like, I don't need an analog for me in there, or like,
right.
I don't need every man. It's not about every man. It's about every robot, Like,
yeah, and you got to think about it. Like, season 1 was Anthony Hopkins and Ed Harris, and now you're going to Aaron Paul. It's like, it's not. Yeah, and it took so long to even find out, because I didn't think he was terrible. It's the same in Breaking Bad. I was like, he's fine for the role. He's not like a great actor, but he's good as Jesse.
I liked him a lot as Jesse. Yeah, but
he worked very well in the dynamic of the show.
And that's what he should have done. And yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting casting choice. It just felt like even Dolores, like Evan Rachel Wood, I really like her, and I like her in all the other seasons, but her just kind of cold demeanor and just like, I'm doing this because of this, and if I don't do this, then this won't happen. It's just like, okay. I don't know. There was no emotion in it, man. It was just kind of like, okay.
It didn't go as far off track as Game of Thrones did, so there's that.
Yeah, but yeah, give it time. I hope they do another season, because I think they, either bring it full circle, make it incredible, and then wrap the show, or just you can find out, okay, we got too far, and we still have one amazing season, a second season that's pretty good, and then a third
setting up that whole aspect or something.
Yeah, I think they'll do one more. The budget on this season was crazy. Like, if you ever watch any of the behind the scenes stuff, I mean, it's like full on movie production mode. It's wild. So I think
that's almost a limiting factor, because that's what happened in Game of Thrones. Is like each episode had to be this epic fight scene, and so they had to write around their budget almost.
It became too much of the storytelling became second nature to the spectacle in Game of Thrones, and that was the main problem, I think, with that last season. It became too just dry.
Can we jam together?
I'm just getting like esoteric and spacey with it. I'm laying you're taking the lead. I'm laying the foundation. I'm just giving you some G minor pads.
G minor, okay. That's the one. That's for A, right?
That's the one. Right after F for A.
All right, go ahead. I'll catch in.
Just kidding. I'm rocking just some Nemesis delay reverse shit, man. You do whatever the fuck you want with this. That's some Westworld jam. They should have hit us up to score season 3 of Westworld.
I think we're scoring season 4 right now.
Yo.
Yo, we should definitely just take
Just do an episode where we just do like some
100
just noise jams.
100%. I'm so down. I want to just get wild with it.
Let's just do an episode that's just an improv set. Just dual bait. You've got your space station over there, and we'll just make it happen.
I'm so fucking down, and I could. God, I gotta figure it away because I've wanted to do this where it's like I don't know if you can jam over Zoom because of the time and everything, but if it's more ambient,
I've struggled with that too. But exactly, I think if you do it less of more of an ambient kind of thing, if it's not like a super rhythmic style thing, you can totally do it.
Yeah, I really like where we were going with it.
That was some Westworld season 4 shit preview.
Yep, Eastworld, Connecticut to Baltimore, baby.
Eastworld, Connecticut to Baltimore. Yeah. The spooky action at a distance.
At a distance, yeah.
That's what it is.
I think we've done great things for the world here today, my friend.
Yeah, I really think so, man.
What
started as a Game of Thrones discussion really just got deep at the end.
This ain't a game anymore.
This is a Eastworld.
Yeah, no, I want to figure out. We should actually just get together at some point, even if we don't record it. Well, I'll just hit record anyway, but just try that out because I want to see if I can route your audio into my Ableton and loop what you're doing.
Yeah.
Figure out a way to like put this together, or even just record it. I set up my loop pedal too, but I can do looping stuff and route it in. But I think we've opened up something here.
We've opened up the portal, man. Now there's no closing it. My man.
Hell yeah.
All right, go get some sushi, buddy.
All right, and we got our next guest. You're contacting her and getting.
I'm on it. I'm on the case.
Dope. Looking forward to it.
All right, brother. You too, man.
All right. Should I start hitting record now, or what's the deal?
To end it?
No, to start it. This was all the preamble. This is like the sound check stuff, right?
Should we just do a week-long stream of the podcast? It's like is this still Lawn Boy thing? It'll just be a week long. The next episode is 1 week.
I'm just super stoked I finally got to use this thing.
Dude, that's really nice. That's making me. I'm feeling like hella stagnant over here.
And I finally got this an actual webcam. That's you.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
Yo.
And this is where my Moog is. It's under this glass table.
Whoa.
Yeah. So I have that here.
You could use a magic marker and write over the keys on your table. That's the space station right there, baby.
And then this will all be in my full-on thing, but we got it.
We're getting a sneak peek at the MTV Cribs Ben Carey house. Who's that we got there? Is that Aaron Paul?
That's Gator.
Wait, I want you to know. The camera's on me. I'm Yellow Boy right now. We really need people to see that. Tap on your screen or something so the angle switches.
Okay, how's that? Better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
There he is.
That's what the people want.
That's Gator. Yep. Got him.
Amazing.
Well, yeah. And there's I haven't yet. It's a break in case of needing snack. I've had that on there.
Candy cane, huh?
I've had that on there since day one of quarantine, just waiting for the day I can't take it anymore. I just need my fix.
It's like fucking candy cane. Did you get that? Is that a Sweetwater treat?
Yeah, that's where the fuck it is from.
I got my Sweetwater treats right here.
Shout out Sweetwater. They give you a sticker?
Oh yeah. Oh, I got my sticker on something.
So I got my Sweetwater sticker on my Sweetwater beer brewery bottle.
Meta.
Yeah.
That's fucking meta. You know what, man? Just so you don't feel like alone with your candy cane, I'll eat this little peppermint thing.
Let's do it.
Cheers,
Dessert
buddy.
before dinner, baby.
Love it. Oh, just kidding. That's pretty good.
Not bad, right?
Merry Christmas to us. Happy Hanukkah.
Shout out Sweetwater. We'd like to thank our first official sponsor.
Sweetwater, let's go, man. Come on, I need some more gear. Let me get that discount.
Kingsley, hook it up.
Is that your guy at Sweetwater?
That's my guy. Yeah, he's great.
I don't have a guy yet. John and Rory have like a special guy, but I don't have a personal guy. So I
think he's for pigeons, but I'm the one who just constantly uses them. I'm like, I need this for pigeons.
Yeah. That Moog siren. Yeah, that's for pigeons, not me.
I got the siren from my friend Leland from Try More Mojo in Texas. They're killing it down there, but he has his presets on it. He's this killer synthesizer keyboardist dude, and he's one of the few people I've actually gotten to see and like sit down at a distance. When we were driving back, we stopped in Dallas, and I got to sit down with him and his girlfriend, me and Cece, hanging out, and it was like everyone's like first time out to eat again. We're like, this is incredible. We were the only people in the restaurant.
Yeah.
God, it was great.
Wild.
I miss just spending all my money on food when I can cook better food here.
Me too, though, man. I miss having bean curries. Actually, well, there's an Indian place I've gone to. I've ordered out a couple times, but I really like eat. If you're eating curry and Indian food, man, I like to eat at the restaurant. That's a messy meal.
Yep.
And I like the ambiance. I want Bollywood movies playing and like Indian music. I like to be immersed.
Spoken as the namesake for that dish, I would have to agree.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I am bean curry.
I know that's why I went to you. I knew that you would be the authority on that matter.
Do you like string beamins?
Yeah. Fuck yeah. String beans are great. I got some today at the grocery store, bro.
String beamins.
Yeah.
Beamans?
I mean, you're looking at it.
Beamans.
That's what they used to call me. String beamand.
Is it beamand?
Yeah, it's like I've been saying beamand, but I feel like maybe I just started saying it that like way half through my life, and it was maybe like beamand before that. I'm not really sure. I let people say whatever the fuck they want. I like Brownie's like Luke beamand, like a lot of people say beamand. I that might be right. They might be right. I might be wrong. It's from Beaumont, the French word for hill.
Interesting, because Greg is Ormont. He's also French.
Oh right, yeah.
I think that's
Beaumont and Ormont. That will be our duo.
Beautiful, baby.
Love it. All right, buddy. Well, hey, man, we'll be in touch. Good luck with everything with Home Fest coming up. I'm excited to check all that shit out.
Absolutely, and stay tuned for that ambient track by the East Coast and Down.
Eastworld presents Spooky Action at a Distance. That's it, man. We got the branding's already there for us.
Love it. Let's do these more often, man. I'm really enjoying it. I think we could we could just kind of get them together whenever we're free.
Yeah, I think doing them more, just the two of us too, is a fun way to kind of get back to basics.
It's a great way to get back to basics, and it's been good talking, my friend.
Good hang with you, brother. Yep. Enjoy your weekend, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
All right, buddy.